Hey beans, it's Ducklene. Welcome back to my channel. Grab a drink, get cozy, and let's get into today's video. Today we are actually doing a behemoth of a task, which is updating the entire journal from January to June. I realized while updating February and March that I made some mistakes in my January update. Apparently Goodreads was not showing some of the books that I had read, so I had to fix it. So there was one extra book missing here, so that obviously affects all my stats, and I had to find a little place for the book while that happened. It was just a 2-star book, but still. Next up, I am setting up my pages, my monthly pages, February onwards, because previously I had just shown January. I was considering doing 1 month setup per video, but then I was like, we're literally in July right now. I kind of have to speed up and just show you everything all at once instead. So for February I did the same as usual, scrapbook method. I used these cute like fans. Obviously the origami paper is like Japanese themed, so I used these fans for like pink and red. It gave Valentine's Day vibes, and so I thought I'd just run with that and use acrylic markers to write out February as the title page, make it all cute and, I don't know, lovey Valentine's-y vibes. Of course I had to decorate it with some cute hearts. Well, one big heart, but anyway, the other page will be in some cute hearts. I set up my stats page over here. This was pretty empty page, so I go ahead and do some extra doodles and stuff. I really liked what I did here with the like clouds or flowers. They kind of look like either like cotton candy or like cherry blossoms, so it gives a bit of the Japanese theme. Makes it really cute. So I also made mistakes for February and March setup as well. So yeah, but my top genres read were romance and fantasy as usual, contemporary and young adult. I added some extra doodles on the page. I read 7 books in February, and that's a total of 2,804 pages. And my average rating was 3.86, so pretty good reading month in terms of ratings. I really liked adding the scrapbooks or like the papers in the corners, so kind of like it's like framing the whole page, which I think is really cute. And as I mentioned, one of the books I missed, so I'll add that in last. So for now there are 6, but there will be 7. So I read Divine Rivals as part of a book club read. I gave it 3 stars. I read The Rebound by Catherine Walsh, 4 stars. And then I kind of went on a Catherine Walsh and like kind of like a rom-com binge. So then I read One Night Only, 3 stars. And then I went to Megan Quinn, Bridesmaid for Hire, 3 stars. Then I read The Bond That Burns, which is the sequel to On Wings of Blood, and that was 4 stars. And then I read The Love Hypothesis, which is a reread, and I gave it 5 stars originally, and it's still 5 stars for me. I love that book so much. I decided to fill in the page with some cute pink washi tape. It was feeling very empty otherwise with just 6 books on the page currently. And of course I went back in with some doodles, pink and red, hearts and flowers and sparkles and stuff, just to fill in the page because it was way too empty, and I don't write reviews in my journal, it's just too much. And then the book that was missing was The Deep End, which is also a reread and also I believe a 5-star read for me. I really loved it. Moving on to March. Oh, sorry. Moving on to March, I decided to go with green because of St. Paddy's Day, I guess. And this is the only green set of paper in my origami pack. But it's really pretty. I really love the cranes. I think they're cranes, the birds and the flowers. It's really beautiful. So, yeah. Oh, and I've been using the same like sort of sheet of paper from this tiny little notebook for my stats. I think it's just nice to be consistent. So I drew a star here and then I ruined it. I don't know what. It was looking cute and now it's just looking weird. But anyway, there it is. I decided to just write out March. I'm not very good at like calligraphy. This actually took me quite some time and several days, by the way. This whole journal took me several days to complete. That's why the light changes every now and then, because it was done over days and weeks. But yeah, I think I did pretty well with this March calligraphy. It felt very empty, so I added one of the cute cranes over here and added some like clovers for the whole St. Paddy's vibes. And some extra dots just because it was still too empty. And then onto our stats page. I already set up the colors. So top genres as usual. It was romance and fantasy, contemporary, and this time I also read a historical book, historical fiction. Again, I made a mistake, so I'm just fixing it here. I don't know why I showed you this, but anyway, here we are. So I had one DNF, 7 books read. I read 2,917 pages, and overall rating was 4 stars. I think almost all of my books were 4 stars this month. And again, I like to frame the page with the scraps. And again, it's only 7 books, so well, I say only 7 books, but 7 books in a month is quite a lot. That's like almost 2 books a week. That's insane. I've been reading a lot this year, but yeah, so the spread is very widespread. Is that the right thing to say? So I read First Time Caller, Beach Read, Funny Story, Poppy War was the historical fiction, and then Happy Place. I also do add in the missing book a little bit later. So First Time Caller was 4 stars. I think, yeah, everything was 4 stars this month, so I don't even have to repeat myself. And again, I decided to go ahead with the washi tape, fill in the page a little bit more, just like, I'm very grateful I had these washi tapes. I've literally just been hoarding them and not using them for anything, so now they have been coming in very handy to match my my themes, my spreads. Because it felt so empty, I made these huge borders for each book, like a big frame, just to like fill in the space a little bit more. And then I added red hearts, red flowers, just to match the paper, the spread more. And then I read Not in Love because I was like on a Ali Hazelwood reread binge the last couple of months, and that also was 4 stars. But again, it was a reread, so I didn't give it a new rating this time around. Poppy War was a book club read, and so was First Time Caller. It was a buddy read for the book club. I forgot to write that down apparently. And now moving on to April, I actually really love the way the spread turned out. I thought it was so cool. I was considering using the dark blue, and then I realized I have this like turquoisey type of blue that matches the pages way more. So yeah, I've noticed that every spread so far has some red in it, which is kind of cool. But I really like the way I wrote out the month and like cut it out. It just made it different. Yeah. And again, my stars, I don't think they improve over time, but you know, here we are. So I read 8 books in April, no mistakes this time. I double checked. 3,678 books. Pages. Oh my god, imagine. Pages and 3.6 stars average rating. Contemporary romance, young adult, and fantasy were my top genres. I realized that my top genres are pretty much always the same. So I'm like, is there really a point to like adding it every time? But you know, hopefully it will change over time. I love fantasy and romance, so I don't think I'd ever stop reading them. I think they'd always be a top genre, but you know, I'm just like, is it necessary? But I don't record my genres anywhere else, I don't think, so why not? And this time, instead of the washi tape, I didn't have any blue, so I used the same like highlighter, which I think looked really cute to line the page. I continued my Emily Henry binge from the previous month. 4 stars for People We Meet on Vacation. 3 stars for Till Summers Do Us Part and A Not So Meet Cute. 4 stars for The Serpent and the Wings of Night. Diebound, 4 stars. 3 stars for The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. 3 stars for An Academic Affair, and 5 stars for Quicksilver. I friggin' love that book. And also, can I just say that I'm actually really proud of how these clouds turned out, because I was clearly just winging it, and they ended up looking really cute. I wanted them to match like the clouds with the dragons. Obviously I can't do it that well, but I think they turned out pretty cute. May, another spread that I really loved. I decided to go for a darker color because I was having a bit of a dark month, like mental health wise. In May I was struggling a lot, and I read a lot of darker books. You'll see darker themed books like dark romance and stuff like that. And then I found this May page in one of my old journals, and I thought I'll cut that out and just add it in, and how cute is that? It's perfect. And then I, for the stats page, just went with the like more muted brown or gold or whatever for the highlights, just because everything's so dark. Yeah, I read 14 books in May. So many books. My most so far. 6,362 pages and average rating of 4 stars. And can you guess my top genres? Yeah, romance, fantasy, romantasy, and mostly dark romance and some sports romance. I have this really cute washi tape that was perfect for this month, the theme. So it's black with like cute little pink and purple and red flowers, which I just thought worked so well, especially since the previous title page was so bold and like the whole page. And since there are also 14 books, I made this spread a bit more toned down, so it's literally just the border of washi tape and then all of the books, because yeah, I think I did 8 and 6, yeah, 8 books and 6 books, just to like space them out a bit, and 7 and 7 didn't feel right. So I read Darling Venom, and that was 4 stars. Bittersweet Memories, 3 stars. Nightshade, I loved this, 5 stars. I loved it so much. The Rose Bargain, 4 stars. And The Thorn Queen, which is the sequel, also 4 stars. Nocticadia was 4 stars, very interesting. Unsteady, 4 stars. I loved the playlist. I read The Deal because Off Campus series came out, so I started with The Deal before watching, 3 stars. My Dreadful Darling, 4 stars. Half City, again, 5 stars. I read The Wolf King and The Night Prince, 4 stars each. So good. So good. And then I read Piranesi, part of Book Club, very interesting. And Shield of Sparrows, which was, Piranesi I rated 3 stars. And then Shield of Sparrows I rated 5 stars. That was part of Larry Reeds's book club over on Fable. And yeah, then I went to my first in-person book club meet for the Well and Read Joburg book club, and as I mentioned, we read Piranesi, and they gave out these like little gifts and like little questions on the book so that we could have discussion points and stuff. So yeah, I got this like from the Viridian Chronicle or Viridian Crafts. They give this little like almost like a newsletter, so I cut out pieces of that and stuck it on here because there was such cool things they were talking about in like, it's like a little newspaper, and they give us a little wax melt, and then yeah, I just wanted to have a piece of this memory in my journal, and so I'll be doing that for the next few months as well. I really loved it. I thought it was so cool. Then moving on to our June spread, I decided to go more colorful since May was so dark and hectic. I went for a colorful spread, basically all the colors, like what do you mean? And then my favorite washi tape is this purple one. Purple's my favorite color, so I decided to go for purple here, and I also just decided to then write out June this time in my purple highlighter because I really liked the color and it just felt like fun and happy and cute vibes, which I think I needed after the rough month of May. And then of course onto the stats page, I'm just setting it up. But overall I read 8 books in June. I read 3,611 pages, and I had an average rating of 4.1 stars. Top genres, who guessed it? Romance, fantasy, dark contemporary, romantasy, and then 1 thriller / mystery. So yay, 1 new genre. That was part of the book club. I joined the book club so that I could read more outside of my usual genres. So that helps a lot. And yeah, since there are 8 books, I just also like outlined the pages again. I stopped doing the whole corner thing. I think I just wanted a bit more minimalistic spread, I guess. I thought this was cute since I did the washi tape border the last month. I liked it, so I wanted to do the same this month. And this is just me organizing my pages on my books. But I decided to highlight the borders, or like create a little border for each book, because just to like use up some of the space on the pages, I thought it was cute. And then I added all of the star ratings below in that little gap. And again, just some doodles. My favorite is to do flowers, apparently. I rated How Does It Feel 4 stars. Phoebe Berman's gonna lose it, 4 stars. You Deserve Each Other, actually, oh no, You Deserve Each Other, 4 stars. Tongues So Sweet and Deadly, 4 stars. The Spark That Ignites in the Air That Tethers, 5 stars. That was amazing. Gothicana, 3 stars. And The God of the Woods, 4 stars. It was our book club read and it was amazing. And The Ember That Tethers was an ARC read, which was absolutely fantastic. I highly recommend. You guys should read it. It was so good. One of my new favorite romantasy series, the Shattered Souls series by J.E. Storm. And then I went to my book club meet in June, which was for God of the Woods. And as you can see, she gave us the case file. It's like a mystery, and yeah, she gave us the case file with like all these little like activities to do inside. She gave us some stickers and also like a little witness interview, which was basically the discussion prompts. My camera died recording this, so you'll see I skip and just kind of show you at the end what it ended up like, but I really liked this. I thought it was so cool. In the end, I did add the bingo that I kind of showed there, and I stuck it in because I would like to, you know, use that bingo in my journal. and I thought it was really fun. Yeah, I love this book club so much. It was so much fun. We also decorated our own bookmarks, which I didn't show you, but it was really fun. And then here I am filling in my bookshelf, coloring in. I decided to color all the books with the color that the book is, so how it would look on your bookshelf. And honestly, it's so much fun to see how this page transforms as it gets filled in. It's really cool. At this point, I was like, is that book blue or black? It was kind of like a really, really dark blue, so and I'm using acrylic markers mostly, so I just work with whatever colors I have available that matches more closely to the book cover. And something that I noticed, obviously I read a lot of blue books, which I feel like I knew that, but as I was coloring in this spread, I started to realize I read so many pink books. I think romances are just very often pink, but you know, honestly, a bunch of the romanticies I read were also pink, so I don't even know what to say. And then sports romance, they love to be blue, and pretty much, I don't know, every other book likes to be blue. But yeah, it was very interesting. So blue and pink are the main colors on this spread, and I read in total at this point 58 books, I think. 58? Somewhere in the high 50s or in the mid 50s is where I'm at by the end of June. So that's like crazy. This bookshelf can fit 100 books, so that's my goal. Initially my goal was to read 80, but then I reached 50 so fast that I was like, well, I think I could maybe reach 100 since like it's mid-year and I'm already over 50, so why not? Why not just try? So yeah, we'll see where we get. And here you can see all the light purple, light pinks that I've read. I know a lot of people like to fill this spread in with like genre, or dependent on the month that they read the book, or based on the rating. I don't know. For me, I was like, I want to see the colors of the books. I think that's fun. I also ended up reading a lot of black or dark book covers, which yeah, makes sense. And that's where we're at. And then here it's the same stats that I basically already mentioned, just for each month on one table. And also you can see here my physical versus digital reads. I mostly read digital books. I don't have a Kindle, but I have a tablet, so I read on my tablet. That's why I just call them digital reads instead of like Kindles, Kindle books or whatever. So far I only read, I think, 2 physical books this whole year. Oh no, 1, fuck. But I'm reading one now. I'm reading more physical books from July onwards. And then again, these charts, they always look so like boring in the beginning, but then as you fill them in, it gets like really exciting. So you'll see me add some additional for Feb and March, the ones that I missed. Silly me. I won't make that mistake again. It's too annoying. But yeah, I love to see how January was like such a big month. I think because like I had some time off, and I read, I think, a lot of short books, and then they went like lower in February, March, April, and then May was like boom, 14 books. May number of pages almost goes to the top of my chart. I'm like, did I make enough space? What if I read more than 14 books? Am I gonna run out of space on this pages read chart? Oh my goodness. And I like to do the alternating colors that matches the title at the top. That's kind of what I'm going with there. And then here, pages per book. and this is me filling in again from Feb and March, updates, and then I go ahead and add everything all at once from there onwards. But it's also so interesting to see where like most of the books that you read fit in terms of pages per book and published years. You can see I read a lot like between 2022 and 2025, and then most of my books are like between 300 and 400 pages mostly. But I did read a few longer ones in the 600 range, which is quite interesting. But you can see, and 500 range as well. So, but yeah, you can see like the 400 to 300 range is where most of them are at. And I read a lot of books from 2025. I read quite a few new releases from 2026. 2024, 2023, and 2022, like I mentioned, are my biggest years. And sadly, I think only one additional in 2015. My rereads have been Love Theoretically, The Love Hypothesis, Oh Deep End, and Not in Love. My DNFs is The Fake Date Agreement, Court of Nightmares, and Haunting Adeline. That one I'll get back to another day, I think. I've been in between so many series, guys. I think I need to do like a whole separate video of like all the series that I'm reading, because to rattle them off now while I'm filling in these pages is going to be way too intense. But I love to see it getting filled in. Since I started the journal in June, I already knew like a bunch of the series that I was going to start off with. That's why it's like mostly filled in and I just need to color them in. But I did read a few books that I'm not certain about the number of books in the series, so I just write like 1 or 2 boxes, and then I'm like filling in the first one, and I'll just add more boxes as I see how many books are in the series or get released. But yeah, I had to add a few extra ones for the new series that I started these last couple of months. And I do think that is where we're at, honestly. So thanks guys for watching. I will be doing more videos where I go into more detail, but thanks guys. Love you guys. Bye.